I'm good. We've been up for a while, haven't we?
We were in the 5 a.m. club.
5 a.m. club. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's funny. She woke me. Here's what she did, right? So she wakes me up and she goes, "Boys, we have 8 minutes to be in the car."
That's true.
And I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to move." And she's like, "You'll be glad you did it." I said, "Okay, all right, I'm gonna get up." So I rolled out of bed. It is so excruciating every day to do that. But the good thing is that you get to later on then brag about it. Like I got up at 5 in the morning and lifted weights and
Well, if you skip it, then you just feel bad all day. Like, oh, I skipped it. I should have
you
not
know
stayed in the bed.
That's true, but sometimes like because you're so like ready to get to boot camp on time, it like I don't get time to like take my supplements because I started taking like creatine and omega 3. I
Oh my
take that now.
gosh.
Yeah,
You better be buff.
I have a whole regimen. Yeah, well you've been seeing my muscles.
I know I have
Don't
seen your
lie, and
muscles.
you're looking pretty good yourself.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, boot camp is something because if you're late, you have to do all these burpees.
I don't even know what a burpee is.
It's not fun at all. It's 25 burpees, I think. So
That
I don't
doesn't
want
even
to be
sound.
late
I mean, when I think burpees,
on top of what we
I
already do.
right, the burpees don't even sound like an exercise.
It's not fun.
That somebody just made that name up. Anyway, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? And first off, I want to start off by first asking you, can you give us a quick sound check? Let us know you can hear us. Give us a quick yes if you can hear us. Shout out your city too. I see Nikki from the UK. Oh, we're gonna talk about the UK today because y'all got some podcasters who really messed up. And we're gonna break that down. Karen Dorsey from Gastonia, North Carolina. Good to see you. El Hodge, Deja Vu from Alabama. Shout out to the Crimson Tide and also the Auburn Tigers. I don't know which side of the fence you're on in that. You were born and raised in Tuskegee.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, roll
I'm an
tide.
Alabama fan for sure.
Okay then, okay then. All
Yes.
right, Justin Pender from New York City. I see you. Yoshika. How you doing, Yoshika? LaShonda Cooley. Good morning to you as well. Darlene X. Dupree Wade. Rise and Shine Sky Dwellers. Sky Dweller. What's a Sky Dweller?
Mm,
Oh, well, it sounds good. I appreciate it.
yeah.
All right, so Dupree Wade, let's see who else is in here. Larry C. Good to see everybody. All right, so let's jump into the topic for today. So there apparently was this interesting controversy that got my attention this morning involving this comedian. I'm gonna put his face up here. His name's Andrew Schultz. And
Let me
you
take a
see
look
him?
at him. I've never seen him before.
Yeah, well, he's
He's a famous comedian.
well, he does a
I don't know
he
anything
does
about him.
like a podcast stuff with Charlemagne.
Oh, with Charlemagne.
Yeah, and you and
Charlemagne's crossed over now.
I don't know what that means. I mean, I
What's
guess
up?
if you work with white people, that
He
means.
done made it.
Well, he does a lot of stuff with white people. He was on the Comedy Central and stuff.
He was on Comedy Central. It was pretty funny.
I thought he did a good job. I did.
You know,
He did. And Charlemagne, I'll always respect him for the fact that back when I met him on the Wendy show, he asked for a copy of my book. What if George Bush were a black man? And I was like, yeah, sure, here you go. And I just give out the copies because I assume famous people don't have time to read your books. I came back, he had read my whole book. I was like, okay, that's a smart dude right there.
did he like it? What
Um,
did he say? He give
he,
you some feedback?
you know what? He didn't say anything, so maybe he hated it.
No, because if he didn't like it, he wouldn't have mentioned it to you.
Oh, that's so true. I
You
think it
know,
was a damn good book. I thought that shoot because Damon Wayans when I met him, he
which book was it?
what if George Bush were a black man?
I read it.
It was like
I read it.
yeah.
It was funny. It was entertaining.
I didn't even plan to be funny when I wrote it.
Really?
Yeah, the funny just spilled out of me.
Maybe you should be a comedian.
I think so. I think I could do it. What do y'all think? Anyway, so yeah, but I had gave a copy to Damon Wayans and he didn't. He was like, I want to read your book. And it's like, yeah,
Damon Wayans?
yeah. He's really big in person. He's really tall.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think all the Wayanses are tall people.
Especially the sister.
Yeah, yeah, and
Uh,
there's just some big old Negroes. But anyway, so yeah, so apparently Andrew Schultz is this guy who he does stuff with Charlemagne. I like Charlemagne. I don't know how I feel about Andrew Schultz because I never met him, but I can say this: he made some comments that just were a little bit baffling. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play what was said, and it had to do with black women, and it really set the internet on fire. It also in my view, was reflective of a deeper discussion that I think has to be had about, how the world kind of views black women and black men. Like, and then also if you really even compound that with what's going on with Diddy, that also reflects the image of the black men around the world and what hip hop unfortunately has done to that image. So let me just play the clip here, and then we can kind of discuss it. So, and our goal is to have an elevated conversation, not just to gossip about it. So here's the clip. Here we go.
Podcasts have been under immense pressure from their audience because they laughed at jokes on the Flagrant podcast, but not just any jokes. This one seems to be the one in particular. Take a listen.
Meghan Markle, she's cool, man. She's cool. She stole your ginge. How you feel about that?
I'm here for it, bro.
I'm here for the multicultural.
Really?
Yeah,
Black
man.
girlfriend effect.
Yeah.
You're
into that.
Yeah,
And Meghan
She
Markle's
came
fine.
in.
What's black girlfriend? They just come in and start fighting?
Nah, bro. It's not black girlfriend effect. She just.
Wait, what is the black girlfriend effect? This
Oh, you don't know about
glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend, all of a sudden he's got buzz cut, like clean shaved. Glows up, bro.
I like that. I like that. They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit. That's why they got to shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends, they
grow
step,
a beard
they step
because
their dick
there's
up.
more cushion when they get slapped. God, I think the black girlfriend effect. It might be a protective instinct, bro.
You think?
Protective. Do you guys? Have you ever had black girlfriends?
Yeah.
Have you ever had white girls?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. What's your favorite? We love them all.
Yeah.
Oh really? We love them all.
Yeah.
That means white.
Yo, who gets
Translation.
Kendrick fans?
Throughout the podcast, the jokes were all cultural based in that realm of this is a white guy, this is an Indian guy, you guys are black guys, but you guys are black guys from the UK and we have a black guy from America. So we're all just talking from that perspective. It's not really deeper than that, but that's
Okay, so give me a quick yes first off. Let me know you were able to hear and see that clip. If you're on Spotify, which by the way, this podcast is on Spotify. If you like intelligent black podcasts, then I hope you'll look us up. Boyce, just look up my name, Boyce Watkins. But also let me know, were you guys able to hear that and see that okay? Give me a quick yes so we can have our discussion about it. Okay, thank you, Rudy Dolomite. And Rudy, that's a great name, Rudy Dolomite. That's awesome. Dupree Wade, good to see you. All right. So did y'all catch the points that were in there? So basically he made a couple points. And then I'm gonna pass the ball to my wife because my wife has actually done lectures on the stereotypes, the major stereotypes of black women that have been around for hundreds of years. And so first off, what I picked up on, babe, was there was first this discussion about let's see what the comment about like they get the buzz cuts or something because their hair's falling out because dealing with black women can be so stressful. And then he said that when they grow the beard, it's to cushion them from being slapped, as if black women are more likely to be violent, more likely to hit you. And then he compares black women to white women. And when the guys say, we love them all, he says, "Oh, that means you like white women better." Your
And he
thoughts?
didn't correct them either. And he's doing this podcast in the United States that they come and visit the United States.
Yeah,
They're
basically.
here in this country doing a podcast tour, and on their tour, they're going around having these conversations.
Yeah, it's like these two brothers. They've already apologized, by the way, which I think was a good move on their part. I don't have the
Yeah,
name of the
because
podcast. It's like it's something weird, like shits and giggles or something. I don't know, but I mean, I probably
okay,
said it wrong, but it's something like that. Anyway, they got checked immediately. Like
yeah.
they immediately were like, "We're sorry, we did," And I think a lot of people, like Ryan Clark, who I really respect, who's a former NFL player who has a great podcast called The Pivot. D1 was on there, our buddy D1. Ryan stepped in, was like, "Yo, you don't say this about black women. Like this is not appropriate." So, what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so here, essentially, these are visitors. So they're visitors, like someone's visiting your house and they come into your house and then they insult your woman.
Hmm.
So that's what's essentially happening. So they're coming to visit. We're trying to be gracious host, but their whole thing in trying to have this podcast to be funny is they come into your house and then they insult your woman. Okay,
Well,
so
but
that's
let-
the
but-
first
well,
thing.
well, but let me just clear that part up though.
Hmm.
Um, they didn't say anything. These two guys didn't say anything. The black guys didn't. The white boy was
Wait,
the one because they were actually talking about the black girl effect in a positive way, and the white boy was the one who said, "Yeah, your hair's falling out because it's these
oh,
black
he
girls."
was the one who
Yeah,
said
yeah.
that.
So it's the white boy Andrew Schultz who made the comment, and what the black guys are being criticized for is
Not
just
saying
sitting
anything.
there and not correcting him.
Oh,
And
they laughed.
yeah, they were
I
giggling.
heard some laughter. Not one time. I mean, they could have said, "Hey, hold on." So, okay, all right. So they're inviting. Okay, so that's a different context. I thought it was those two gentlemen, the British gentlemen that came here to United States and insulted us. How do you do that? But
Mhm.
no, the host let them come in, and then the host took that opportunity to just lash out at black women. And he's from America. He's from here.
Yeah, Andrew Schultz, the
Andrew
white boy
Schultz
who
is
made
from
the
here.
comment, that's Charlemagne's partner. And what Ryan Clark said was Ryan
Oh,
Clark actually called on Charlemagne, which I do as well. I call on
yeah.
because I haven't talked to Charlemagne for years, but he knows me. We know each other. I call on him also. Like, you need to correct your boy. Like this is not because that's the thing. Like, we think that
Mhm.
money and laughs is makes everything okay. Nothing's out of bounds. And I got enough of a sense with Charlemagne. He has a black wife. Um, there's something about being a man in a community where you just can't be letting other people from other spaces come in and insult the
What you
women
gonna
here.
do? What's
Right.
he gonna do? I mean, he
Exactly.
hasn't had a chance. This must have just happened, so he hasn't had a chance to
About 3
say
days ago.
anything. About 3 days ago,
Yeah.
that's enough time to push out a statement.
Right.
I'm surprised because Charlemagne, he kind of comes across as pro-black in a
Well,
lot of ways.
I think he is. I think he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would like your assessment just as a professor who has taught classes
Okay.
on
Yeah.
black female stereotypes.
Okay.
You actually broke down the four major stereotypes of the black woman. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I do want to talk about now that I understand like the context and what's happened here. Okay. So yeah, so there he is what he's doing is he's perpetuating the angry black woman stereotype
Mm-hmm.
that and it's terrible. I mean, think about the angry black woman. What are all the things historically that black women can be angry about? The lynching of their husbands and their sons. They're angry about injustice and slavery and lynching and all of these things that black women are legitimately angry about. And instead of connecting to their pain because they've seen their husbands, their children, all of these things happen to them. Okay. What you do is that you turn them into the aggressor. You make them become the angry black woman. So it has no compassion at all, no humanity in that at all. That stereotype comes out of the inhumane conditions of black people and black women's reaction to being wrongly um, treated and their family members being treated and having to witness all of these things. So the angry black stereotype is turned around and placed against the black woman like she doesn't have the right to be angry and making her pathological when the system of racism and white supremacy and privilege and all these things, that's really what's the tragic piece in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the angry black stereotype.
Okay. And then you
So
also
it's a lie.
and then I remember you informed me on like the Mammy and the Jezebel and the Sapphire, right? Like those that's
Yeah, so another stereotype is the mammy stereotype. And
Oprah. Yeah.
well, okay, so you mentioned Oprah. So the thing is that all black women in media usually they take on the characteristics of one or many of those stereotypes of black women, and it's because we do not own the media, right? Other people own the media, like this gentleman who have these negative stereotypes, negative images and portrayals of in their mind because out of slavery about black people in general. There's stereotypes of black men too, but for black women, that's all they see us in. It's oppressive. It puts us in a box. We're objectified and we're not seen in our totality. Who and what we really are, we're not seen. We're just seen through the lens of the stereotypes.
Mm. Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, like what that analysis did for me when you explained the those four major stereotypes, it made me look differently at kind of how the world views black women. And then you're right, like people like Andrew Schultz. I'm
Hmm.
assuming Schultz, could I'm not sure if he's Jewish or not, but his community owns a lot of media, which probably played some role in his success or his opportunities. I'm sure there's people out there that are funnier than him, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm making an assumption. But either way, though, they have these beliefs about black people, and if you bring a black person to the table, you're looking for one of those stereotypes. Like, so black man.
Not looking. You can't come to the table unless you sign up and agree to portray one of those stereotypes.
Okay. Well, Jay says Schultz is Irish. Okay, so he could be Irish, which unfortunately the Irish community has, some racism issues,
But you know what? Not the
especially in
people.
places like Boston.
I have heard of black people. That's really interesting. I've heard of black people going to Ireland and getting a lot of love in
Right.
Ireland because they hear about our struggle and they struggle just as much. So they kind of almost like relate to us in a lot of ways.
Mm.
The Irish, because of what the British did to them, it's like really awful
Yeah,
historically.
well,
But
and I think that what that speaks to is that you can't put a group of people in one box, right? I'm
hello.
sure I can meet I'm sure I can meet an Irishman who hates black people, and I can meet an Irishman who admires black people, right? Just like you can meet a black person who behaves according to the stereotype versus a black person who doesn't, right? So I think it's when you laid out those four stereotypes,
Well, I
it
just
helped
talked
me.
about two, but
Well, no, well,
oh, you're talking about in general. Okay,
yeah,
go
when
ahead.
you explained those to me,
Mm-hmm.
it helped me to understand. Like when I had such an issue with the record labels that had Lizzo kind of behaving in a way that I thought was not representative
Yeah.
of. You helped me. You were like, okay, she's doing this is the mammy stereotype, like the sort of big black woman that white people love, and
With a
then
smile on her face.
right, and then you have the was it
But
the
mhm.
sapphire? Is it wait, no, which one is the one that's it's like hypersexual? Is there which group with
Oh,
that?
the black whore stereotype.
Yeah,
She's both of them. She's how can you be the mammy and the black whore at the same time? But boy, she nailed it.
yeah,
She
yeah.
nailed that stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I think it's important to understand these things, right? Because a lot of us don't get it. Like we just think that's just being black, or that's black culture, and it's very dangerous to fall into that trap because then next thing you know, you're starting to feel as a black person like, okay, because I don't fulfill a certain stereotype, I'm not black enough, or even other black people may not accept you, right? It like even
Yeah,
as a black.
because it's internalized. Of those stereotypes, we internalize them and we use it against each other. And it's so fascinating. Like it even happens in like romantic relationships. Even black men and black women, when they get together, they're looking at each other through those stereotypes.
Mm,
It's really sad to see, but it's what makes, black couples unique is how do these stereotypes play out in the relationship in how you relate to each other. So
yeah,
like if you're late with something, I'd be like, them black men sure can't come through for us. I can say something
right.
like that, which is not, it has nothing to do with a stereotype. You're just late. But here I am throwing these things at you, and it happens in our relationships.
Yeah. By the
Hmm.
way, everybody, you're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm a professor of finance. My wife is a professor of social work and a licensed therapist. And so, if you'd like to get to know more about what Dr. Alicia does, you can go to coachingwithdralicia.com. And what we do is we literally lay in our bed and we do pillow talk and try to have fun and thoughtful conversations about things happening in our community. So feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you want relationship advice from Dr. Alicia sent to you via text the word love to the number 87948. If you text love to 87948, she'll send you some stuff for free. All right, so here's the thing that's interesting about this, right? So we are talking about Andrew Schultz, the Irish comedian, and he's on a podcast where he makes a comment about black women, and basically they're talking about the black girl effect. And for those who just got here, he kind of just basically said black women were violent and that they stress you out. That being in a relationship with a black woman is stressful and violence. And maybe he's speaking from his experience, right? He sounds like a guy. I notice it's like sometimes when you have white people that are really comfortable around us, they'll feel okay like saying certain things. Like they'll say, "Oh, I have a license from Charlemagne to talk about your women." And that's okay, right? And they don't understand that just because Charlemagne gave you a pass doesn't mean the whole community gives you a pass.
I doubt Charlemagne gave him a pass.
I think Charlemagne does, honestly. I
Oh,
think I
really?
think
Okay.
because the thing is that people are all enamored with fame and money. So the fact that Schultz has a decent sized platform, and I'm sure there's some financial benefit of that affiliation, people let a lot of stuff go because of money. You know, remember money, that's my thing. Like the psychology of money and what money does to people's mindsets and how money will cause you to lower your standards, lower your values. You'll value, like there's nothing extraordinary about this weird looking, dorky looking white guy. But so when I saw him, I was like, okay, he's kind of funny, not that funny. There's nothing he's not extraordinarily intelligent, but he must have some money behind him. He must have a big platform or something. And what tends to happen is that, when white people put a person on TV, we tend to think that they are more relevant than the people who are not on TV. Like, why do you think the whole Diddy thing is happening? Diddy has been a weirdo and a pervert and a goofball for 30 years, but we respected him as one of the most honorable black men in the community. He was telling,
I don't know if he's honorable
not
black.
honorable.
I don't see him in that
Well,
way.
when I say honorable, I mean he was on the cover of freaking Forbes. He was
Oh,
a
they saw him
They
that way.
celebrated him as a billionaire. He was telling black people who to vote for. He was building schools. Yet all the while he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil and dildos in his bathroom because he's so sometimes celebrity and money can cause us to really think a person is more relevant than they actually are.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, my kids are texting me.
Oh, okay.
Like they got me off.
Is everything okay with the kids?
I have no idea.
Listen,
It's homecoming weekend. It's a lot going on today.
lot of big stress happening.
Let me tell you, I'm a busy mama. I can't take this.
And I'm in a house with full of y'all crazy black women. Maybe that's why I'm bald. Maybe that's why my hair's. I just talked to Andrew Schultz. Apparently, he's an expert on black women.
Really? Crazy black women?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
I ain't
so
got no hair.
did you
It's y'all's
enjoy
fault.
did you enjoy your dinner last night?
I did.
You ate
It was
from through
good.
the hands of a black woman.
Yes, I did.
How about that?
Black women been feeding me since birth, so I know when to shut up.
Yeah.
Shout out to the black
So how
women who
about
take care
that?
of us. That's right. Yeah, actually, Coco made the food. It was really good.
Yeah, she made good job.
Yeah, it was great. So anyway, but by the so here's speaking of like quality men who say who are able to understand the world in a way that I think deserves respect. Ryan Clark, I don't have his image, but Ryan Clark made a statement about this, and he I saw he did a video on Twitter. I wish I had the video. I don't have it, but I want to give a shout out to Ryan Clark, and he basically says he runs the podcast called The Pivot, and Ryan Clark is a former NFL player. I think he's won a Super Bowl. He's a really damn good player, and he's retired. And now he's got a great podcast. And he says, "I'm not sure what black woman experience Andrew Schultz has had, but it hasn't been the real black girlfriend effect. To insult black women and describe them as complainers and abusive isn't just untrue; it's disrespectful. Even worse, James Duncan and Fuhad Dawodu." Allowing him to say it is even more insulting. Andrew Schultz spoke that way in front of two black men because they allowed him to. They made him comfortable enough to disrespect black women because they didn't force him to respect them. My experience with is that black women are powerful, beautiful, strong, and supportive. They prioritize black family, community, and culture. They take steps back to push their men and families forward. So no, Andrew, the black girlfriend effect is nothing like what you described. I'm just upset that you don't have enough solid black men around you to tell you differently. I got a thought.
It's not his place. It's not his place to speak on black anybody.
Yeah.
If you are, if you are raised as some Irish white man, it's not your place to speak on it. And you haven't. That's not part of. You're not in it enough to even come up with something intelligent to say. All you're doing is, I mean, think about what makes a black woman hurt. What makes a black woman want to say, here are some needs that need to be met, and I want you to meet those needs? Why would you talk about complaining? Like, here's a black woman opening up her mouth and saying what she needs from you, and your response is stop complaining. Like, I don't understand that. How do you not value black women? Even in his experience, if he's dated a black woman and they're saying, okay, Boyce, I need this from you. And you're gonna look at me and say, stop complaining? Like, I don't get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got a take on what Ryan said. First off, I like Ryan Clark. I respect it, brother. And Ryan reminds me of the fact that I'm gonna just be biased and honest here. solid black men can identify other solid men, and we also can identify flimsy men. Like we can tell. Like when I heard what Ryan said and how he described black women, it told me a lot about his family, to the point where when I read his background about his mother and his father, hardworking, intelligent people, he didn't have to tell me any of that. I literally knew these things just by the way he made that statement, because Ryan is a guy who is um, interesting in the sense that it's like, I saw immediately when he made that comment. I kind of knew what was going to happen. There were literally black men in the chat who were like,
What
"Oh,"
they say?
some of them called him soft because he
Wait,
defend.
he was soft
Yeah,
because he said
yeah.
positive things about black women.
Right, and this is how distorted the
Yeah.
community's gotten, is that you have a lot of black men who feel okay insulting black women. And I think that's where the Andrew Schultzes come in, and they say, "Well, your own men are dissing you, so I can diss you." Right? And that's where I love about Ryan Clark is that if he and I were to sit down and talk about our black wives, he and I, first of all, we have a license to talk about black women that a lot of men don't. A lot of men will not have not married a black woman, would not marry a black woman. You over married to Becky, and you up here talking about black women. You need to shut up. First off, just shut your damn mouth. You have no license to speak here. But if Ron and I were to sit and talk about our black wives and the nuances that come with being around black women, if we had a day where we were frustrated and complained, we would understand. It's like, yeah, I get it, man. You know how black women can be. But then if we sat around and praised black women and how they've come through for us, how they had our back, how they were on the front lines of so many struggles that we've had in our lives, personally and professionally and otherwise, he would get that too. Because the truth is that black women, like everybody else, they're not a monolith, right? There's a diversity, there's a spectrum, and what happens with stereotypes is you get reduced from being a human being with
Mhm.
where there's a
It strips
variety
you of
of
your
outcomes.
humanity.
Right. It
Yeah.
strips you of your humanity and puts you in this stupid little box.
Mm-hmm.
And the Andrew Schultzes who come along and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have me a black girl effect experience. I'm going, if I date a black girl, she gonna get me fly, she gonna give me a fade, I'm gonna get a beard, or I wanna sleep with a black woman because I heard they do this and they do that. Well, a lot of times they're just picking women that fit whatever stereotype they have. Bill Maher was like that. Bill Maher was one of those guys who was real comfortable with black people to the point where he would say some crazy, disrespectful stuff, and you could tell he dated black women, but he always
Mm-hmm.
sort of would pick certain types of women that fit his little weird fantasy of what a black woman's like, instead of seeing them as human beings who are diverse. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I like what Ryan said. Last thing I'm gonna say about Ryan that's really interesting. When he said that, I want y'all to peep out this last one. I like to read between the lines. Let me just point this out real quick. I gotta point this out. At the end, he said, I'm just upset that you don't have enough solid black men around you to tell you differently.
Mm-hmm. So he's talking about the other.
He's talking to
He's
Charlemagne.
talking about
He's
Charlemagne.
talking to Charlemagne. He's like, you punk. Yeah, and remember, Ryan is not a punk. Ryan is a football player. He was one of the hardest hitters in the NFL. He won a
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl and he played defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
mindset. He defends things. That's what you did. If the Pittsburgh Steelers defense was one of the toughest defenses in the
Oh,
NFL.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
So.
so that's
Mm-hmm.
his mind. That's his defender mindset, stepping up and saying,
Mm.
"What's wrong with you, you little punk?" He's just being diplomatic, and I'm the one who becomes politically incorrect. So I want to be, and I hope Ryan doesn't get upset about this because I don't even know if he knows me or not. I've never met the guy, but I like him. But I think that's what he's saying. He's saying defend your women, defend your people. That's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, that's an
I'll,
interesting
I'll let
play
you
on
respond.
words.
Yeah,
didn't really recognize that.
and you can
Wait, what are you
you can
doing?
reply. I gotta run to the bathroom. You
You
can
gonna run to the
yeah.
bathroom? You
Give
gonna leave me
give
here
your
by
response.
myself? Okay. Okay. So, what do y'all think? Bill Maher was with Superhead. Oh my gosh. So he was with certain types. Um, Let me see. Okay, what y'all think? I feel more comfortable talking to someone. So stereotypes of black women. I went through two. So let me go through the last two. The last two is the first two I went was the angry black woman. I went with the black whore. The black whore comes from slavery. And out of slavery, during slavery, black women were sexually assaulted and they were raped. And what happened, and they were raped by white men. And so when the white women would know, they would realize that their husbands were raping black female slaves. What they did, instead of putting their anger toward their husbands who were raping black women, what they did was they blamed the women for being raped. They said, if you would just dress appropriately, if you wouldn't walk around in this way, provoking my husband to rape you, it's your fault that you're being raped.
Ooh,
And so that sort of thinking is where the black horror stereotype comes out of. It comes
wow.
out of that. So that's the third stereotype. Um, and what's the other stereotype? Oh, gold digger. That you just all you're interested.
Is the sapphire the same as a gold digger?
The sapphire is the angry black woman
Okay,
stereotype.
keep talking.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the gold digger. You're just shallow. You're not interested. You're not really interested in a man for who and what they are. You just want to get what you can get. So that's
Mm.
the other stereotype.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, so stop stereotyping each other. We can't do that. By the way, you're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. And if you want a free copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking, you can actually go to boyceandalicia.com. We're into all topics related to uh, money, mental health, relationships, and just things that are going to help our community. We want to see you live your best life, man. That's what we believe in. And also, you can follow Alicia on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. So, if you like intelligent black content, she provides that on a regular basis. She's very good at what she does. So anyway, all right. So let's sort of close this up. I'm gonna make sort of final remark on this. So we were talking about Andrew Schultz, the comedian, and I know he's a comedian. I know that comedians, take risks, and I know comedians like to be edgy and controversial. But I think that beneath that desire to be edgy and controversial, there are just certain red lines you can't cross. Like I think that he would understand there's certain jokes you cannot make about Jewish people. Like you could not make a joke about the Jewish community during World War II or involving Hitler or something and think that they're gonna just let that slide. So I think with black people there should be red lines where you just say, look, man, be funny, but don't be getting too funny because we're gonna get funny with you if you start acting like that, right? And these brothers here, they've apologized, right? I don't know the name of their podcast, but they're from England, and they have their black experience in London, and I love the black people in England. Remember we had a great time.
Yeah. These two men, do not represent the black men I've met in London, who have
Mm,
been they came across to me as extremely respectful. I don't know what's going on in their heads,
mm.
but they were very respectful when we were there.
Well, and I feel like these
Yeah.
guys, I feel like these guys were respectful in the sense that when
Nah.
no, listen, let me explain. Let me explain. I read their apology and I kind of saw, and it seemed like they were like, "Oh shit, we messed up," right? And they're young, and I think that there should be some grace. Now they're gonna be apologizing for you. They need to do an apology tour now,
Yeah, they need to change their
right? And I
sure.
don't think it was built around like, "Oh gosh, we got to just say this to get it out." I think that they apologized because they knew genuinely they messed up, and they were probably a little nervous and laughed at something they shouldn't have laughed at. Because I did that. One time my father chewed me out. I was on this show, this ESPN show years ago. Stephen A. Smith used to have a show called Quite Frankly with Stephen A. Smith, and I was on the show with Method Man, the rapper, and Meth started saying something ignorant, and I just kind of laughed along because because it's awkward. You don't want to be you're nervous. You're on TV and whatever. And my father called me. My father was like, I was like, so did you see the interview? He's like, yeah. And I was like, what'd you think? He said, I didn't like it. I said, why not? He said, because you should never. He said, don't be. He said you were laughing along. He said you never agree with ignorance. You don't agree with ignorance.
Mhm.
And that was him setting me straight. And so I do have empathy and grace for these guys because I get a sense that they're like really trying to say that they're sorry. Now maybe if they have a trend of disrespecting black women, then that's another thing. I don't know of any such thing. There are some guys there's some guys that have black guys that have a podcast. Oh, there's a lot of black podcasters, black male podcasters who literally have built
Who
their
trash black
well,
women?
they built their whole career around providing a highly imbalanced, a constant criticism of black women because they know black women are an easy target. And I don't, I have a problem with that because I think that as a man, you can express your frustrations without being just fundamentally and consistently, deliberately disrespectful. So, Well, now let's see.
Yeah. So what
Oh,
am I?
go ahead, babe.
I got parting words. My
Hmm.
parting words is that here we are coming up on a presidential election where you do have a black woman running for president. And I think,
You have a Jamaican and Indian woman.
stop it, boys.
She's not African. She's not a descendant of slavery.
Can I please stop? Would you please stop and let me say something?
Yes.
Okay, here you have a black woman who is running for president. And I predict that there's going to be, just like there was an Obama effect, backlash. There's going to be, well, it was backlash when Barack Obama ran. He was biracial also. So the first black president, male president, I think with Kamala possibly winning this election, we don't know. I really do predict that there's going to be more backlash for against black women if Kamala wins. I really do predict that.
I can see that. Well,
Yeah.
Kamala to me is I don't call her black per se. I call her non-white, right? And I do
Hmm.
think that non-white is gonna get a backlash, and I will give her
I think
that.
it's going to come
Oh,
for black women. I don't think it's going to be for anybody else but black women.
for you know me backlash coming from
The
black women,
black, no, the
or
backlash is
oh, you
coming
think that they're gonna have a
for
backlash
us.
against black women
I
because
really
y'all look
do.
like you look Kamala like?
Yeah, because no, you can think that maybe she's not black, right? You say she's non-white, but how it's going to be seen by the public. She's going to be seen as a black woman who is president, and
Mhm.
therefore it's going to be a backlash. That's my prediction.
Well, she's interesting because she's racially ambiguous enough that she can get into the halls of power. If you notice,
Mm-hmm.
they don't, if Kamala would not be running for president if she looked like Wesley Snipes.
You're wrong for that.
Real,
Okay.
no, really. If she was like pitch black, just
Well, maybe
clearly
because she's married
like,
to a white woman,
well,
a
yeah,
white
yeah.
man.
I mean, the white husband, all that fits into the narrative. The white
Hmm.
Jewish husband. Let's just be clear. So, that's what tends to happen whenever black people get to that level. They're
Hmm.
not usually African American descendants of slaves. They don't want to deal with those people.
Okay,
We,
but
we're,
all
we're
of
we're
that is
considered
true.
dangerous. We're dangerous to them.
All of that is true. But that aside, can we put, listen, can y'all understand levels? There's levels to this, right? There's levels to this. Let's just put the politics aside. Let's just put your nuances to the side. The thing is that if we do have a female black president, and that's what she's going to be seen as, let's just take away the nuances. That's my prediction, that there's
Mhm.
going to be a backlash
Yes.
because black women are not respected in America like they should be.
I do agree, and but I
Yes.
also think that there should be room to respect those who've gotten past this idea that you should support anything black that they put in front of
Now
you on the
that's
street,
true. I
right?
agree with
And
that.
and that's so anything that's a black Democrat, we're supposed to automatically support it. Anything that's a black Republican, we're supposed to say, "Oh, you're a sellout," and I don't like that at all. I think that that limits our freedom.
It
I'm not.
does.
I do not agree with the idea of us living in a one party system as
Mhm.
black
I'm
people.
not going to vote for you just because you black.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not just not going to do that. I'm going to look at the issues. We've already talked about this.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And what values closely adhere to my values. That's what I'm going to vote for.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. So yeah, so we can debate on Kamala, but I look forward to seeing an African American descendant of slavery as president one day. We still have not had that.
Yeah,
Like
that would be great.
they specifically selected Barack specifically because he didn't have that lineage. If he'd had that lineage, he wouldn't have got that opportunity.
He would not have. But he
Yeah.
was still a black man who was president of the United States, and there was a backlash. I witnessed a backlash.
There was a backlash, and he
Hmm.
was good for America, in my opinion, in the sense that, um, he's articulate. He just presented so well, and I thought
Oh,
that
he still
I
presents well.
he did a very good job for America.
Oh, great.
I don't feel I'm not impressed with what he did for Black people per se.
No, I mean, he kept those systems going very
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He did the job of the presidency, you
Well,
know.
I compare. I look at a Barack Obama in a way. It's almost. I look at him like if you got a family where you're starving and you're really hungry, and one of your relatives gets a really good job at the Ford plant, and he
You're
becomes
happy for him.
right. You're happy for him, and he does a great job, and you're really proud of him. But let's say he doesn't send any money home, He gets the good job at Ford, and everybody at home is talking about how proud of him they are because he's got the good job at Ford. But nobody in the house benefits from him having that job.
And they and why should they?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
inspiring enough to make me want to apply.
maybe, maybe.
Maybe I too can be president of the United States.
Right, right. And then you have the Hunger Games. If y'all watch, if you watch the Hunger Games in detail, you'll see that that's all that is. It's literally we maintain our oppression by picking a couple of people out of the oppressed group and then
To
parading
prop
them.
up.
Yeah, prop them up and parade them as like a symbol of hope. That's why that word hope is so powerful.
Yeah, I don't need hope. I got enough hope on my own. I do not like inspirational speakers,
Mm,
like speakers who come and inspire me, get on my nerves.
mm,
I like speakers like you boys.
mm.
You're the kind of speaker, you're giving me information. I want some information I can use. I don't need anybody to hype me up, to give me some hope. I definitely don't need inspiration. I get that from inside.
Well, I also like, and also when I speak, I like to provide solutions and a plan, a
Yes.
strategy. I don't want to just get us all pumped up over
I don't want
nothing.
to be pumped up.
Right,
That
right.
irritates me. It even irritates me in boot camp when they're like, "Good job." I'm like, "Shut up." It's 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. This hurts. My body hurts. I don't need a good job. I need like cuss words going
Well,
on.
you know, and I actually I'll say this. I think that that's what leads me to admire your success is that that's the difference I noticed because because I've before we got married I had other relationships and stuff, and what I like about you is you are a doer. You if I make a plan, I say let's do this by Friday, you'll be getting it done.
I do
Like
get
that,
it done.
you be
Now, let me tell you, it's not perfect. And
that's
I
okay.
do be messing up sometimes. But hey, I messed up. I learned from it. But I dive right on in the deep
Yeah,
end.
yeah, and that's what I'm gonna tell you that I can't tell you how many people I meet who will come to the they'll go to the seminar, get all pumped up, get riled up, talk all day about everything they're gonna do, and
And do
God's gonna
nothing.
guide them to to success, and they're gonna fight through it, and then they don't follow up.
They
They
go
don't,
back to their old ways.
right? It's a lie. It's
Yeah.
a over reliance on emotional arousal, and not a reliance on discipline. The motivation will get you to that'll get the motivation will help you take the first step. The discipline will help you take the other 9,999
Oh
that's
my
required to get
God.
there.
Black people. Now I'm talking about black people.
See, listen to you spread
Black
stereotypes.
people. So be
And
loving a nice sermon.
we like a good
We
sermon.
like a good sermon.
We like a good motivational speech, and I think all that can
I
serve.
can't stand it.
I
If
don't.
I went to church and like a preacher like started doing a sermon to rile up the crowd, I would get
Mm.
really annoyed.
Well, the
I
funny
don't
thing,
know why I cannot sit through speeches like that.
well, you know what? Preachers are some of the best speakers I've ever heard, especially the real good ones. And
Yeah,
what's crazy about it is like if you're an analytical thinker and
like
you
me.
right and you really analyze like what they're saying, you'll realize like
They ain't saying
some of the
nothing.
pastors literally will spend a whole hour saying absolutely nothing and
Absolutely
have the whole
nothing.
church jumping up and down.
I'd be like, oh my God, I can't. I just can't with the
And
church.
Jesus
I'm
said that we gonna climb the rock.
Let me tell you,
He said that we gonna climb it.
I can't
He
stand
didn't
it.
say we gonna climb down. He said we're gonna climb up.
Oh my God. I used to go to church.
We're gonna climb up in the sky.
Let me tell you, I used to go to church and I know people probably be like, she's a heathen, but I used to go to church and then one day I was like, Alicia, you wake up early Monday through Friday. You wake up early on Saturday. The one day you're gonna wake up early just to sit here for some inspiration that you really don't need.
Mm.
And it just bothered me so much. And I don't know why. I just don't like church is good for the people that it helps, but there's certain people that just don't need it. I just don't feel like I need it.
But
And
you,
that's something that I don't
but you gotta
share. I've
remember.
now shared with everybody, but I don't share
But
that.
Alicia, but then Jesus climbed the rock,
Yeah,
and he kept
Jesus can
climbing,
keep on climbing that rock.
and he went up. He didn't go down.
I don't need
He didn't
that.
go in a circle. He didn't go sideways.
I need to sleep in.
Yeah, but that's what I found to be real interesting. Same thing is true with rappers, which rappers are basically preachers. They just maybe their
I
religion is
can't with the
can become
raps.
more demonic like Diddy. But no, seriously though, like rappers, again, same thing I would do with pastors, where I analyze exactly what's coming out of your mouth to see what I'm learning.
Yeah.
The same thing's true with artists. Like I'll listen, I'll read their lyrics, and I'll listen. And a lot of times we get so caught up in the beat and the music that we're not hearing. Like I'm like,
They have nothing to say.
either they have nothing to say or they're saying something that's like horrible. Because I remember talking to somebody about a Lil Wayne lyric, and I said, you do know that he just said that he was gonna have sex with you and then chop up your dead body and mail it back to your ex-boyfriend. And, like, does that not concern you? It's like, no, but it's got a nice beat.
Well, listen, the thing with Little Wayne is so interesting. He really is a genius.
He is.
Because how could he put out all of that music and write all that stuff? As terrible as it was, he put out a lot of music. Like a lot. I couldn't believe, like, I was actually like digging into it. Like, he was writing song after song, album after album, hit after hit. Like, he was really just something was coming through him that was just like a lyrical vomit that he was doing for a long time. Now, the content of his stuff is just horrific.
Well, Lil Wayne is a
But
preacher.
is it? Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
he's a pastor. That represents the gospel of Black self-destruction.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, like
Look, he's spitting the lyrics.
but that's what it is. It's like, unfortunately, because of the trauma he went through. I mean, little boy, I think he got shot when he was 11 years old or something. You know,
Yikes.
so he spent most of his life sort of, unfortunately, using his tremendous power in a way that is not gonna help, not beneficial to the community, which is why I was very happy that Jay-Z took a stand and picked Kendrick Lamar for the Super Bowl and not Lil Wayne, because unfortunately, as much talent as he has, talent can't be your only criteria for who
Well,
you
Little
select.
Wayne is not happy about that.
He,
I would have been cringe. I think Little Wayne in front of a Super Bowl audience would have been a little too much for the audience.
yeah, I think
It
so.
just wouldn't have
But
come across.
but you know what? I think that what they're gonna probably do is they're gonna probably include him, because I don't think you can just leave New Orleans artists off because their
Mm.
contribution was so impactful. Also, I would love it if they brought D1 in there. Like, I mean, D1's from New Orleans.
D1 would be
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, Kendrick shouted him out in his song, and I was like, huh, I wonder if he's shouting him out because he's
Oh,
kind of
Kendrick should bring
helping to
him.
elevate his profile. Because I mean, D's, he's our buddy. D's like a relative for us, and I love it. I love him a lot. He's a great guy, and I love the fact that he has the courage to just say, like, hey, can't we still have fun with hip hop and be great at hip hop without allowing others to use hip hop to destroy us? He understands how the money for
Mm.
other people, other communities use money to get Black people to take the gun of hip hop and turn it to our own face.
Y'all gotta listen to D1's new album. We were listening to it. Me and the kids were listening to it. He's got some really good. There's like 2 or 3 songs that I'm like listening to over and over again.
Well,
I love.
I bet if you looked at the discography of D1
Uh
and
huh.
in terms of how much music he's put out and compare it to Lil Wayne, I bet you it's similar. I bet D has put
Oh,
out.
I don't know.
I
Lil
bet,
Wayne was
I bet D has put out more music than Lil Wayne. And also,
really.
yeah, and D told me a funny story where he said,
Huh.
I made a comment on Vlad TV where I said D1 and Lil Wayne are actually similar. They're just dark and light sides of the same culture. I said, yeah, they
Interesting.
both have dreads, they both have that New Orleans accent, but one raps about horrible things, the other one raps about positive things. So this shows the power of hip hop. It can be used as a positive or a negative. And do you know, I didn't even know this until it was done, but D1 went and made a whole album on what I said.
That's
Yeah, and
right.
he had his picture, his baby picture next to Lil Wayne's baby picture, and I think he called it "Separated at Birth," and it was so brilliant. He took all of the Cash Money Records beats and rapped over them with positive lyrics to see what that would sound like. And he said he could not put out the album because
They wouldn't let him.
Lil Wayne's people found out about it, and they called D's record label. I guess he was with Epic at the time, and and they basically said, we can't put this out because we're gonna get sued.
I wonder if he could eventually get the clearance for that album to release
I need
because
him to send it to
I
me.
that would be so great.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, but it'd probably be some copyright violations.
I want,
Y'all
I
violating
want, I
stuff.
want to hear it. I never got a chance to hear it, and I was so flattered. I was like, "You did all that because I made one little
You
comment."
gotta text him when we're done. Text him and ask him to send the album
We
over.
got
We
to,
all
we
want to
got to
have a
have an
listening.
album release party.
Could you play it at the convention?
I might try.
Ain't nobody gonna stop us. Who's
D,
gonna stop you? It's your
yeah, I
convention.
wish D could come to the convention this year. year.
He can't make it.
No, he can't make it this
Oh,
year.
but then we got to play his music.
We will. Well, D1 is that's a great guy. He's a great. If y'all don't know who D1 is, you need to look him up. He's a great
We gotta hang
human
out.
being. He's very talented, and we love him and we respect him. And he was actually on Ryan Clark's podcast, The Pivot, and that was a perfect connection. When I love to see great men like that get together because those are the men that are going to lead our families and our communities out of the darkness. Those are the men that are going to make Black people great again because they're tough, they're
Mm-hmm.
fearless. You know, Ryan won a Super Bowl. D has
Okay.
D will take on anybody, anywhere, anytime, and so they got the courage, but also they have an understanding of structure and what our community is supposed to be. So that's why I have a lot of admiration for those guys, and I just applaud them in every way. So anyway, all right, so
Okay.
let's
We're
hop on
done.
out. Yeah, it's
We're
time
not
for
even talking about the
we're gonna take
topic.
our morning nap. So anyway, guys, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you want a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking, you can actually go to boyceandalicia.com. And also, if you want to check out what Dr. Alicia does or make an appointment, she is a therapist. Feel free to go to coachingwithdralicia.com. That's coachingwithdralicia.com. And then last but not least, we do economic elevation training. I do this every single day because I want you to get your money right. I want you to understand finances. I want you to understand investing. So I do it every single day at 10 a.m. for free to anybody in the community
It's
who
free?
wants to listen. Yes, you don't have to pay money, but you got to pay attention. So if you want to
Mm.
join us and get an invite, we're going to start at 10 a.m. this morning Eastern. Just text the word morning, MORNING, to the number 87948, and I will send you an invitation. Text morning to 87948. So you guys have a great day. God bless you, and thank you so much for listening. We'll see you soon.
Goodbye, everyone.